Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News for Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. Stand up for your country on the first day of summer, the longest day of the year. So, the airlines melting down. I am Paul Revere, a modern day Paul Revere. I'm going to prove that coming up. But first, the talking points memo. The recession is already here. Now, the definition of an economic recession is when trade and industrial activity are reduced. I don't know about industrial activity. I don't have privy to that. But I do know that trade is almost ground to a halt. And I'm going to explain that. So the experts, we might have a recession in the fall. It's here for the regular folks. So U.S. flight bookings, mainly because of the money, but also because the airlines are so terrible, are down about 2.5% in May from April. That's a big drop in 1 month, particularly when the summer travel season is the biggest season. All right, so they're down. Auto sales down 3.5% May to April. So people are going, nah, I'm not going to buy now. And not only with travel and auto sales, but with everything across the board. And if you got to borrow money, it's a terrible time to borrow because the interest rates are way up. Now, the Wall Street Journal, which is probably the best American newspaper, they did a survey and they came up with 44% of economists that they talked to see a chance of a recession. Okay? 44%. No, I read that wrong. Economists, all economists that they say, that they talk to, see a 44% chance of recession. That's half. But again, these pinheads, they're in Harvard and 44%. It's here. Okay, Clyde? It's here. Now, President Biden doesn't know that because he doesn't know anything. Roll the tape.
Economists are saying the recession's even more likely than ever.
Not the majority of them aren't saying that. Come on, don't make things up, okay? Now you sound like a Republican politician. I'm joking. That was a joke. But all kidding aside, no, I don't think it is. I was talking to Larry Summers this morning, and there's nothing inevitable about a recession.
Okay, Joe. So who do you believe? Larry Summers and Joe Biden or me? Now, what do you do? This is important, and we're going to focus in the months to come on survival tactics for you. So there's nothing you can do to make things better because the federal government has screwed things up so badly in the last 18 months. That's across the board. I'm a simple man. I have one simple question. Show me any policy, any problem that Joe Biden has improved in 18 months. Just give me one. Problem solved or policy. No one can do it. I must have done 1,000 radio interviews in the last 6 months because of the books and everything else. I asked every radio commentator, give me one. Nobody can. Even the people who like Biden. So you can't do anything about this in a larger sense. It's here. It's hurting you and your family, and there's no question about it. All you can do is be patient because history goes in cycles. So we're in a down economic cycle. There will be an up economic cycle, but I don't know when. Nobody knows when. Biden's in there for another 2.5 years. Although yesterday I said I think he might resign next year. But Harris no better. He's no better. But once Republicans get control of Congress, things will stabilize a little bit because Republicans won't pass anything Biden wants. And they'll crack down on some of the egregious things like the open border and stuff like that. So you just have to tough it out. I'm with you. We have to tough it out. I don't even know if I'm going to look at my financial statements when they come in early July. I don't even know if I'm going to look at them because it's that painful to look at them. Because I know that as bad as it is, in maybe a year, I'm hoping, maybe less, it'll get better. But if you bail, if you sell everything in a panic, then you're never going to recover. You see what I mean? So we will recover, but I don't know how long it's going to be. Now, if you need the cash now, it's tough. Very, very tough. Now, there are things that I'm going to tell you a little bit later on about food that we can do to mitigate some of this inflationary horror. But the bottom line on this, I don't even like to say bottom line, it's a cliche. Joe Biden is incompetent. You know how I feel. I have proved it 100 different ways. If you don't buy it now, if you still think he's a good president, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. Okay? Because he's not. He's not going to get any better. He's going to be 80 in November. He's going to get worse. But let's just rally the clear-thinking people to make it impossible for Biden to hurt us anymore. And in the meantime, we'll give you some tips to save money and save as much money as you can save. I don't want you to deprive yourself either, so we're not going to say, go on an austerity thing. We're going to give you little plans. All right, that's a memo. The president's schedule, he has kid vaccines, COVID vaccines for the kids. Okay, fine. There it is, kids' vaccines. You're a parent, you make your decision about your child. Most Americans have come to the conclusion that vaccines don't stop COVID, but they mitigate it if you get it. That's true, I believe, but it's pretty much over. I think most Americans say it's going to be here forever and we'll live with it. It's the flu. But as far as little kids are concerned, it's the parents, and you make the call. Okay, let's sum up now on the situation that we find ourselves in as Americans, loyal Americans. So Joe Biden cannot solve anything, but the top 5 right now, right today, are inflation, the border is a catastrophe, okay? Harvesting energy. We can't seem to get ourselves back on track as we were in the Trump administration with the energy flow, all right? Airline collapse, because people have to fly, and violent crime. And we have a big segment on violent crime in the nation's largest county, LA, coming up. It's shocking. So Biden's got nothing on any of this. It's just really, to me, I'm a problem solver. It's what I do every day. I run 3 corporations. I solve problems. Okay? I've never seen this in my lifetime. Carter was bad. Jimmy Carter was bad. But at least he tried. Biden didn't even try. Just ignores it. Now, on to crime and no punishment. So we reported yesterday 2 police officers in El Monte, California, that's about 15 miles east of Los Angeles, were shot dead by a criminal gang member, a man who had been convicted a number of times, named Justin William Flores, 35 years old. He killed himself as authorities closed in after the 2 murders of the police officers. Now, they were named Michael Pardes and Joseph Santana, and here's what Mr. Santana's mother said to the media. Go.
Gascon's just letting all these criminals out, and they just keep doing one crime after the other. And that guy should have been in jail. If he would have been out, my son and the other officer would still be here.
Gascon just letting all these criminals out was her first sentence, in case you didn't hear it behind the mask. So almost everybody who pays attention in the nation's largest county, Los Angeles, knows there's something very wrong with the district attorney. So let me back that up with stats. All right, since he has taken office, murders are up 97%. 97%. Shootings are up 54% since this man stepped into the office of district attorney for the county of Los Angeles. Now, this is outrageous. This is thousands of dead people because of one man, George Gascon. Now, how did he get elected? Well, George Soros pumped all kinds of money into his campaign, $2.5 million into a political action committee that supported Gascon in 2018. So he had more money than everybody else. And as you know, Southern California is a lot of liberal people who don't, I guess, care about public safety at all. But now the good news is there is a recall effort and they have enough signatures. So Gascon, like Bodine in San Francisco, will go on a ballot. There will be a special vote. And I'll predict that Gascon is out. After these two police officers were murdered by this Flores guy who should have been in jail for life. He should have been serving life because California has a 3 strikes law. 3 felonies and you're gone for life. But Gascon wouldn't prosecute that law and hasn't prosecuted the 3 strikes law. So therefore Flores, the gang member, violent guy, drug-involved guy, he's out there with a gun. And he kills the 2 police officers. That's enough to you can't prosecute Gascon. He wasn't obeying California law, so he could be removed by the governor, Newsom, who doesn't care at all. Newsom doesn't care about this public safety menace. So this is again, almost impossible to understand how civil servants can do this and why it is allowed by any state. Supply chain issues have been a catalyst in bringing high-tech manufacturing back to the USA. My tech expert and founder of Brownstone Research calls it the Great Recalibration, and he discusses it in his newsletter, Near Future Report. For the past 35 years, he has helped his subscribers safely navigate volatile times, and he also answers your most pressing questions, like how to protect your money from inflation. What are the implications of a new digital currency and the Great Reset? What will the Fed do with interest rates? And what is expected from the stock market in 2022? Brownstone Research has been at the forefront of nearly every major market move for the past 35 years. Let Jeff Brown help you by signing up for his newsletter today at a 75% discount. It's a 12-month subscription for only $49. Please go to jeffbrowntech.com. 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 So joining us now from Southern California is Kathleen Cady. She is a former LA Deputy District Attorney. She knows the turf, and she is the co-chair of the effort to recall District Attorney George Gascon. Okay, did I miss anything about Gascon? Am I overstating the case? So I'm here in New York, and I am so angry and appalled. I was just in LA a couple of weeks ago, and these police officers are dead now. I don't know. I really don't know what more to say.
Right, and that is, I think, how many residents in Los Angeles feel as well. So, you know, when Gascon came in, he ran on a platform of reform, which I think some people, you know, believed that he would try to make things better. But of course, that's not what happened. He has not made things better. He issued a number of policies that have resulted in a number of people having been hurt and killed. He's endangered our communities. And for the victims of these crimes, of course, it's been absolutely horrific. So because of that, it was the victims really who started this recall effort. And I will say that it is not political, it's bipartisan. So many, almost all the victims who signed on are murder victims' families. They're both Republican and Democrat, independent, declined to state, because crime is not political either. So we are at the tail end of our recall effort. And as you said, I'm one of the co-chairs. We have to submit 567,000 signatures that are verified. Right now, we have a little bit over that number, but of course, not all of them are verified. So our goal is to get to 700,000 so that when the registrar recorder does, you know, toss out however many they do, that we still have enough to be able to qualify to get this on the ballot. So for anyone who is in LA, We urge you to sign your petition today, to turn it in today, because we are on the tail end, as I said, of collecting all the signatures. We have to package them up. 500,000 signatures is a lot. So we have to package them all up, and we will deliver them to the registrar recorder on July 6th.
Now,
And
where can the people sign? On the internet? Where can they go?
they cannot sign on the internet. You can go to the internet to recalldageorgegascon.com. You can download the petition and sign the petition. There are places where you can drop it off. You can still mail it. If you mail it by today, we should get it in time. But if you wait a couple days, we probably won't. So you would need to actually drop it off. And again, on that website, recalldageorgegascon.com. There are a number of locations where you can drop off your petition, because it's really critical that we get this issue on the ballot. We can all talk all day long about how dangerous LA is and how horrible his policies are, but unless we get the recall on the ballot, voters will not be able to vote to get him out, and we cannot go another 2.5 years with Gascon in office.
And I think every rational person agrees with that. If you do get the signatures, when will the vote take place? Do you know?
Well, we anticipate it would probably be in December or early January. The election code in California has a number of different parameters. You have to wait this many days and this many days and then give it to this person. And so when you do all the math, it looks like we probably would get it on the ballot in December or early January.
Okay, what everybody can't understand, because it's not just an LA County problem, it's a problem here in New York, Chicago, St. Louis, Baltimore, on and on and on. These progressive district attorneys, many funded by George Soros, so they've got millions and millions of dollars to spread their propaganda. They don't want to punish criminals. Do you understand, Ms. Katie, why they don't want to punish criminals?
Well, I think it's very naive, I think, on their part. I think it's
got to be more than that, though. These are people who, they know what violence is. They see dead bodies. All right. I believe it's political. They think their country is evil. They persecuted minorities. The USA has, and therefore the minority criminals should be cut much more slack. It's not really their fault. They're hurting people. I think that's what it is. But how do you see it?
Well, I would agree that certainly many people see it that way. I don't know Gascon personally, so I can't really speak to how he sees it personally. What I can tell you is, however he sees it and whatever good he thinks he may be doing, he is misinformed. His policies are dangerous and ill-advised, and line prosecutors who have experience and expertise have been telling him that from the day he took office.
But he doesn't care what they
say. No, he does not.
Bodine didn't care and Gascon used to be the DA of San Francisco. He's partially responsible for the destruction of that town. And then Bodine was worse than Gascon, if you can believe it. Voters threw him out, which is incredible in a city like San Francisco. Gascon will get thrown out too. There's no way he wins this, not after these two police officers were killed. Every Hispanic voter in LA County will go in and boot him. I have a lot of friends in LA. They all say it's a dangerous place. Right. That you don't know, everybody's armed and everybody's in an automobile, and they can hit you, at random, and the gangs run wild in the poor neighborhoods, particularly in East LA, Compton, those neighborhoods. There's no control over gangs, and there's Gascon not punishing violent criminals.
Right. And I will say, he has many, many, many policies, but one of them is his bail policy, and his bail policy does not allow prosecutors to ask for bail when someone is a felon with a gun. So they it's really incredible, actually.
How much responsibility do the people of Los Angeles hold? Because they elected a far, far left law enforcement guy. How much responsibility? Now, we assume that most honest people have awakened in the last 2 years. But the voters, they get what they vote for, correct?
Well, I would say they get what they vote for if the person who is telling them what he's going to do is being honest. And that's not what occurred here. He made some statements that perhaps people could look at in retrospect and say, well, I guess that's what he meant. But the statements that he made were not nearly as blanket as they are now. And I will say that I personally have represented a number of victims who, initially voted for Gascon because they thought that he would make things better, because that's what he said. And now they realize, of course, when they look at the actual policies written down and they see the devastation that has occurred, they recognize that he did way more than he ever said he would. And so they have absolutely turned tables. And so what I would say is that I think the majority, certainly of residents in Los Angeles County, have now recognized the devastation of his policies and how he is endangering all of us. And certainly for the murder victims' families that I've represented, they personally have been feeling the devastation of his policies.
Absolutely.
So I think by right
last
now,
question.
I think.
Last question. Okay. Gascon himself in his public statements, you know, the LA Times, that newspaper supports Gascon. They're not supporting you. They're not supporting a recall. The Los Angeles Times. I don't know local news in LA. I don't get to see it. But the LA Times and the San Francisco Chronicle supported Bodine. And that's how irresponsible the press is. But when Gascon defends himself against a 97% increase in homicides and 54% in shootings, does he have anything? What's his defense?
Well, he says that his policies haven't been in place for long enough and that we need to just let them play out. And
we need more bodies, more dead cops then.
Right. So we cannot wait another 2.5 years. That's why the recall is so critical.
Thank you for being the co-chair of the recall effort, Ms. Katie. More Americans should emulate you and get involved at the local level and get rid of these dangerous people. And keep us informed if anything happens out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
If you are stuck in a timeshare and you haven't called Lone Star Transfer yet, what are you waiting for? Lone Star Transfer has helped more than 16,000 happy customers. They are family-owned, have a 99% success rate. Their process is done legally, ethically, and quickly. I mean, does it get better than that? The team at Lone Star Transfer will keep you informed every step of the way until you are legally and permanently released from your timeshare. So don't pay another penny for a timeshare you don't use. Get peace of mind today with Lone Star Transfer. They guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. Give Lone Star Transfer a call for a free no-obligation consultation. 855-551-7066, 855-551-7066, or online at lonestartransfer.com. Here is the final thought of the day. So as you know, Killing the Killer's massive success. Number one everywhere and hanging tough. Almost 2 months in the marketplace. So Killing the Killer was supposed to be out last year. But COVID, as I told you, we couldn't get the books printed, so it had to come out in May. But I had another book all ready to go. So the publisher, because Killing the Killer has done so well, they want to get out the next book in time for the Christmas season. So September 27th, you will see, drum roll please, Killing the Legends. Okay? The Lethal Danger of Celebrity. The Lethal Danger of Celebrity. Killing the Legends. It's about Elvis Presley. It's about John Lennon. It's about Muhammad Ali. This is popular history. Okay? All three of those men, Elvis, Lennon, Ali, influenced our society. All three of them were manipulated. It was unbelievable what happened to all three of them. And it was almost eerie in the similarity. We tie it all together. Book begins with Elvis, goes to Lennon, Ali is the third. It's boom, boom, boom. Your eyes are going to go like this. Now, I know I'm going to get oh, this isn't really history. It is. It is history. It's popular history, societal history. And it's important that people know that even though you're on top of the world, powerful, celebrity, wealthy, famous, everything, you can get devastated. And how these three guys did get devastated, I mean, it's one of these. Because when we researched it, I knew that all three of them met their demise in a bad way. I knew that, but I didn't know what happened to them behind the scenes, because the tabloid press never tells you the truth. This is not a tabloid book, by the way. This is a real methodical examination of three very famous people who had an impact on everybody all over the world, all three all over the world, not just the USA, and what was really happening to them during the process. And what do you hear? What do you see? Elvis, I open with Viva Las Vegas. That's how we open the Elvis part of the book. You have no idea. And Ali, I open in Manila, the Thriller in Manila. And John Lennon, we open with the last album being recorded by the Beatles and what was going on there. So this book, again, will be out on September 27th. Killing the Legends, The Lethal Danger of Celebrity. And I think you will like your pre-order on BillO'Reilly.com. Get it first. And we have put the press release on the website. You can read the whole thing. And I hope you will consider it. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. See you tomorrow. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. I am an AMAC member, and you should be too. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits, insightful takes on today's news, and a magazine full of uncensored content that you will not find anywhere else. Most importantly, AMAC is working tirelessly to preserve the freedoms enshrined and secured by our Constitution. AMAC has become one of the most impactful organizations in America because more than just talk, AMAC gets things done. They are pushing back against the efforts to defund our police, weaken the borders, and replace your freedom with government control. But they need your help. Stand with me and more than 2 million patriots and join AMAC today at amac.us. That's AMAC.us. amac.us, and tell them O'Reilly sent you.
Bill O'Reilly is back on TV and only on The First. No Spin News, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The First.